Hey everyone, it's Michelle Jackson, the founder of the Black Writers Workspace. I am here today for another amazing interview with an author from the BWW page. Her name is Iris Jones. She's 16 years old. She's a college student, and she wrote an amazing book called Growing Up Iris. And so we're going to talk to her. But before we bring her on the screen, there are a couple of things I would love to do. One is to convince everyone who's watching us to do a couple of things. One is to share this on your Facebook page. Take a minute right now and share this link on your Facebook page so that we can maximize the number of people who get an opportunity to see us. We are also going live on YouTube, so you can find us at Michelle D. Jackson's YouTube channel. In addition, we ask that you ask questions. So we have her here for about 30 to 45 minutes, and we're going to have a dynamic conversation, but we need you to ask questions. So if you have any questions, please drop those in the comment area and we will get them answered. So let's bring her on. Hi, Iris. How you doing?
Hello, how are you doing? Thank you for this
I'm
opportunity.
great. I'm great. It's so good to have you here. There's so many people on the page. I feel like we'll learn a great deal from you as a young writer. As you know, the BWW, the Black Writers Workspace, is just that. It's a space for us so that we can learn from one another, we can connect with one another, we can grow and continue to take our work to the next level. There's so much talent on the page. And I say that not because I helped, I found the page, but I say that because I go through everybody's profile. I look at their Facebook pages, I take a look at their work, and I am amazed at the amount of talent that's there. So when you showed up, uh, at the time, I think you were 15, you've written um, a book about a very serious topic, and that is growing up as a biracial young lady in a mixed race household. And so it was just fascinating to know that someone your age made the decision to write and publish a book. But before we get into just that, writing and publishing, tell us about yourself and tell us about your work.
Well, thank you. My name is Iris Jones, and I'm a 16-year-old author and college student. And I wrote my first book, Growing Up Iris, about a year ago. And it's essentially about me trying to accept myself in a society that wouldn't. So, like, I was always told by society and by my family, the black and white side, that I always had to pick a side. I always had to be either black or white. And I never really fit into either. I was my own category. So it's all about, my book is all about me trying to find myself and, not letting labels define me. So.
Mm. So your book deals with a topic that is not only important to you as a biracial young lady, but also to how the world views you and how you view the world around you. Tell us, what did you learn in this process that allowed you to better celebrate who you are?
Well, I learned um, that in the writing process or in the like me growing up to become who I am.
Let's start with writing and then let's talk about you growing up because I want to get into that conversation a little bit deeper. So, in the writing, what did you learn about yourself that helped you to celebrate yourself more?
Well, as I was writing my book, it took me like 3 months because I was really excited to write it. So that says a lot. But as I was writing it, like I found myself like sitting and like contemplating on these events that happened in my life that I never really thought about before that I lived through, and I'd be sitting there writing about it, and I would just sit there and I was like, wow, that's crazy. I went through that. So it's like an eye opener when you're actually putting your words to pages and your pen to paper and writing about your experiences. It's really that you get to see how much you've been through. So it was an eye opener for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, full disclosure, I have the experience of raising a young man who is also biracial. And I know that there are a lot of different things that you encounter. You have, the idea of, am I to celebrate my blackness more than my whiteness or my whatever race that you feel that you should celebrate, you struggle with, how would the world see me? Um, will the Black community accept me? Will the white community accept me? Talk to us about something that you found was your biggest challenge in growing up, Iris.
Well, my growing up, my parents have been like my biggest support system, and my father, he has always continued to educate. I have four brothers, and I'm the only girl, so he's always taught us about like the important things of Black history, because like the school doesn't teach, school systems don't teach you about Black history. So he's always been there. He's always been adamant in teaching us about our own history and about our ancestors. And so growing up like that, I've always talked white. So, you probably heard that before. A lot of educated people hear that all the time. But so the Black side of my family, they never like accepted me because I talked too white, or I did certain things that they didn't approve of. When in reality, that's how I was raised, and I couldn't help it. And and then the like my white friends or my white side of the family, they thought I was too like ghetto and outgoing, and I was just like a Black girl who needed to calm down and just said too much. So that's probably my biggest challenge, is trying to find where I fit in when in my own family I wasn't accepted.
Mm, mm. That is amazing. I, you said so much there. The talking white, the acting too Black. There is in the Black community as a whole. I can only speak from that perspective. We do challenge each other quite a bit on our Blackness or our whatever we perceive to be something outside of being Black. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a girl who grew up in housing projects. I was very quiet growing up. I always wanted to be a writer. I had so many things in my head that probably didn't fit what people would perceive would come from a young person growing up in the environment I did. Yes, I've been accused of talking white. I've been accused of being bougie. I've been accused of a lot of things. Um, but I don't let it define me because I know who I am and I know how I got here. I'm from Alabama. So, my mom would say the word hundred. It was hundred. I remember thinking, I don't think that's the way it's supposed to be pronounced, but it was the environment we grew up in. And I respect everything about everyone, regardless of their background. But I know I can only imagine how tough it is to feel like you are always being, there's an expectation that you can't meet because
Yeah.
of the color of your skin. Talk to us about where did this take you? Where did this book ultimately lead you to understand about who you are as a young biracial woman?
Well, like I said before, like as I was writing, I realized a lot of things about myself that I never really thought about. And what I learned was that a lot of people are going through the exact same things that I'm going through. Um, I've after I wrote my book and people started supporting me, a lot of people, Black, white, Hispanic, everybody, they don't even have to be biracial. They tell me they can relate to me in some way, and that right there, it feels amazing to know that my words made a difference.
Iris, I can tell you as a writer, we go through a very extensive emotional process to make a decision to write and publish a book. It is complex. It is not easy. There may be some assumption by those who don't write to make think that, well, this is what they always want to do, so just sit down and write. You have to purge so many emotions within yourself. You're going to expose something about you, about the people around you, especially if you're writing it from a first person perspective. Even if it's fiction, people assume that you're building characters around about you or your situation. It is something that I had to deal with because I write fiction. You also have to decide how much transparency you want to put in your book. You have to decide, is this going to be a book that you market or not marketed? Who the audience is. There's so many different complicated decisions that need to be made. I made that decision at 35. And a lot of writers make that decision much later in life. You made that decision at 15. Now, for me, I look at you and I'm going, you are extraordinary. You are absolutely everything I wish I could have been at that age, because I always wanted to be a writer, but there was just no way I was going to do that at that age because I didn't have the mentorship and I wasn't ready. What gave you the confidence to write a book at such a young age?
Well, I just felt like it was important for young women, especially young Black women, to get their stories out there. And like you said, back when you were growing up, you couldn't, like you said, it was hard for you to write a book, and I get that, but like in today's time, it's extremely easy. You can, like, I self-published on Amazon, and it took me like a month to figure it out, but it was fairly easy. And I, like, as times continue, it's gonna get easier. So I honestly suggest that like everyone writes a book and publish it, because the writing process may be hard, but it's fairly easy to publish.
I love your modesty because you're not seeing what I'm saying. I'm saying that yes, it is easier, but the mental exercise of deciding to do it.
Yeah.
What was that one thing? What gave you the confidence to do just what you did, was to put your ideas on paper? Because it, yes, it is easy, but it's easy to publish now, much easier than it was 20 years ago or
Mhm.
25 years. I can't even remember how many years ago, so long ago. But it really is still a confidence builder that you have to have within yourself to decide to put a piece of work out there. What did your mother and father say about it? And what really gave you that confidence? I'm just extremely interested in knowing about that.
Well, actually, it's a funny story. Me and my father, we were walking through Home Depot together, and then out of nowhere, he was like, "You should write a book, Iris." Because growing up, I was like my friends and family's therapy. Like, they came to me when they wanted to know a certain thing, especially people that look like me, Black people, biracial people. They would come to me and they'd be like, "Iris, I need help with this. I don't understand. I can't like find myself." And then I'd come and I'd help them, and I'd tell them my experiences, and then from hearing my experiences, they could excel. So I just decided that, what if I wrote a book and I put my experiences to paper, so people that don't know me personally can read my book from all across the world, and they could get through these issues by learning from my issues, and hearing my story. So
That is remarkable. That really is. I want you to know that is remarkable. It is not an easy feat to make the decision to publish a book at your age. It is not easy to make the decision to be transparent about an issue that tackles something personal, which is your experience as a young woman in a mixed race, family dynamic. It is not easy to acknowledge to even understand how those differences can impact you going forward. And so to see that you were able to put this information out there is just, it's just amazing. So let's talk a little bit about the publishing and the marketing for your book. But before we get to that, I do have one question. What did your friends and your family say about the book and about you publishing the book after it was done?
Well, my friends were very supportive. I've had friends that go around school and they tell everybody like, "Iris wrote a book," and then they like secretly like put my book in the library so people can go in there and read it and stuff. So the response from my friends has been really well, and my family too. It's been really well. But some of my family that like I talk about in the book, how I never fit in, they kind of like took it personally. They didn't like kind of accept me writing a book, because that's how I felt about them at the time. I didn't put any names in there because I didn't want to make it all messy, but they kind of like know it's about them, and at the end of the day, they're not that supportive of it. But yeah, I know I'm making a difference, so Doesn't really matter.
Absolutely. You are making a difference. And back to what I was saying before about the fact that my son is biracial, I know how tough it is. You have, there are so many issues to deal with. We had him in a school in an area in Pittsburgh, and he was called the N word so many, a couple of times, and monkey, and I was shocked because I did not anticipate these things happening. And I hate to say that that's very naive of me to believe that. My mother was very, very fair skinned, and she told me how every day she would have to run home from school because the kids thought that she was too light skinned as a Black woman. There are so many things that we deal with from this that deals with color of our skin, colorism within our own race of people, light skin versus dark skin. But I think there's also a lot of naive there's a lot of uh, we have to demystify, the ideas of around, you know, colorism, the color of our skin, and race, and stop believing that because someone is biracial that they get a pass in one way or the other. I think in many ways you have it even harder because I sit in a group and I know, I am African American and people never challenge me on that. I know that you are often possibly very much so challenged on your blackness versus your whiteness, and you want to honor both because you love both of your parents. And so I think that is wonderful that you're putting that out there, and you said the right word, that is that you're helping other people. You're helping kids just like you, and adults, and just people who are dealing with situations that are tough. You're showing them the strength that you had to really put it out there and to face it. And I think that is amazing, and I'm really proud to know you and proud to know that you put your book out. Let's talk now about the publishing. And anybody out there, if you have any questions, please, this is a great time to chime in. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what you feel. Give this young lady words of encouragement. I can see her doing 100 more books. I'm just proud to know that you were strong enough and had the confidence to go out after your dreams. That's very, very important. So you said you published on Amazon.
Yes.
Talk to us about the process, what you learned, and your marketing.
Well, let's see. So it took me about 3 months to write it, and then it took me another like 3 months to figure out how to publish. And those 3 months was like me every day going on YouTube trying to figure out how to publish, like what's the best way to publish. Should I go through a publisher? But I'm only 15. I don't like have a lot of money, so publisher was obviously out the picture. So I had to self-publish. So I had to figure out how to do that. So I was looking at videos every day online and reading articles trying to see how I could self-publish, and I came across the KDP on Amazon. KDP self-publishing, I think that's what it's called. And so it took me a while to get the formatting down and all these things, and I had to like pay somebody on Fiverr to put it in the correct format and stuff. It's a lot of technical details, but I finally figured it out, and it was definitely worth it. Honestly, I would say that self-publishing is the way to go sometimes. But the whole marketing thing, if you're going to self-publish, marketing is kind of hard to do. Um, it's like you have like how I market sometimes. I don't really market like online and stuff because it's really hard for me. But I would like post a Facebook ad or something. And what I do is I go to farmers markets because during the whole COVID thing, libraries and stores and stuff, they don't do book signings anymore. So I'd go to a farmer's market where I could socially distance, and then I sell my books, and I meet lots of cool people who if I did a book signing in a library I wouldn't meet, but just everyday people who are buying groceries at a farmer's market at 8 o'clock in the morning. They walk past my table and my sign, and they see that, and they come and talk to me about these real life experiences. So it's been really great.
That's excellent. And that's another thing that, I mentioned before, all the decisions that we have to make as writers. You were able to figure it out where a lot of us struggle. I did use Amazon KDP as well. with my second book. My first book, I used a vanity publisher, and it was a very different experience. I loved the Amazon. It was Amazon process. It was easy, but it is, you have to read, you have to pay attention to the details, you have to lay it out correctly. And then you're absolutely right about the marketing. As you know, as independent authors, we struggle with the marketing in some ways. But the good thing is the internet and social media gives us an outlet to be able to market our work. And so it's good to know that you were able to tap into that. You'll be amazed at how many people take years. It takes them years to figure out how to self-publish. And I'm still learning different things about self-publishing. There's always questions on the page about self-publishing. So to know that you were 15 and you figured it out and you didn't make some of the mistakes that many of us make. Because like I said, my first book, I went through a vanity publisher and I spent over $1,000 publishing a book. The second time I only had to pay for an editor. And so, that's a big difference in cost, but it's something I had to learn and I was 35. So pat yourself on the back because you were able to make it happen. And I love the idea of going to the farmers market. Very, very smart marketing in this age of COVID. I released my book on February the 14th, 2020. And then a month later, we were stuck in the house. I think you released your book also in 2020. So, being able to pivot and find alternative ways to market is very smart. And congratulations on that. Is there any, are you looking to do, you did mention before we came on that you were working on another project. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Well, my latest project is called the Racial Literacy Project, and essentially it's about getting culturally diverse books and literature out there to communities that lack it. And when I say communities, I don't mean just like the hood or like the country. I grew up in Houston and like Cypress, Texas, which is a very very large area. And in my 15 years, 16 years of life, I've never read a book by a Black author or with a Black main character. And I loved reading as a kid, so I would go to my local school library, and all they had was like Harry Potter or like a book about a dog, and a kid, or Charlotte's Web, but they never had anything about like a story about a Black main character, like, or a memoir or anything like that. So I think it's really important that not only Black main characters, but Asian main characters, Hispanic, Muslim, all of those, they're easy to access. So what the project does is we go around. Right now it's Texas, but hopefully it's the U.S. soon. And I donate books to areas like schools and organizations and public libraries that promote these things, that have like Indian main characters or Asian main characters, and then I publicize it on Instagram and all these social media platforms, so young kids know that this is out there for them. And the books range from elementary school all the way to young adults. So yeah.
Congratulations. That sounds amazing. That really sounds amazing. I'm looking forward to learning more about it, and hopefully it will come my way here in New Orleans. We need that. We need more young people who are really pushing literacy. And you're absolutely right. It's unfortunate that a lot of our libraries and schools still don't have the type of representation in their book selection that they need. Um, and so you can help, to shine a light on that, and that's a really amazing thing. I think, for me, I'm so proud to see you. I have a youth entrepreneurship program called I Invest, and it's the I Invest is for international business competition, and I work with youth 13 to 19 years old on business building viable businesses. It's a 6-month web-based program, and I work with youth from all over the U.S. and Canada, and these are some of the most innovative young people ever. They are building wearable technologies, and they're doing things so far beyond my generation. I love working with them And just listening to you, you really kind of tapped into what I love so much about this program, and that is the fact that your generation is so socially conscious in a way that I've never seen another, either in my lifetime, a generation be. You care about the climate, you care about social issues, you care about a lot of things that we can sometimes think that, well, you guys are always on your phones, you're not paying attention to what's going on in the world. And it's not true. It is not true at all. And so, just listening to you, I hear a young lady who's going to be continue to be a change maker out there and make big things happen. And I hope that your family, your friends, and everyone will continue to support you. Um, you're in college now at 16 years old. How does that feel? And how can we as a community of writers support you or help you?
Um, it feels great, honestly. Well, like I said earlier, it's all online because of COVID, so I don't really get to have the whole high school, the whole college experience. But just knowing that I've made it this far and I'm continuing to excel is amazing. And
That is great.
yeah, sorry, that's all I had.
No, no, no. And how can we, as a community of writers, continue to support and help you? I mean, what can we do for you? Because if we're not pulling up the generation of writers behind us, then we're not doing our job. So, how can we help you? Have you ever thought about that, or you have anything you want to throw at the wall for us? Challenge
Well,
us.
I just need my book and my story to get out there more. So word of mouth. I haven't really thought about it before, but yeah,
Mhm.
just I don't know. Yeah.
Well, that's excellent. We can help with that. We're going to push you. We're going to make sure that this interview and anything else that you post on the page gets out there as much as possible. You can send me your information. I will highlight it on all of our social media pages. I'm here to help. I spend my days, I own a PR firm. I have a youth entrepreneurship program, but I probably spend more time on the Black Writers Workspace trying to make sure that I am promoting Black writers because A, I love to give back, and B, I have two books out there, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even really push to sell my books as much as I should. I'm more interested in seeing people like you be successful. That will make me feel successful. I write because I love it. And it would be great to be a best-selling author and all that, but this feeling of being able to be on the screen with a young lady who's 16 years old, who's in college, who wrote a book about something that is near and dear to so many of us, who's really becoming a change maker in her community, that means more to me than selling 1,000 books.
Yeah.
So I am here to help. And if there's anything that I or anyone on the page can do for you, I want you to reach out to us. I will put everybody's feet to the fire because if we're not helping young people like you, then we're not a community. That's what communities do. So thank you so much for being on the for being on this interview. Thank you so much for spending time. I'm sure you've got studies and other things you could be doing besides talking to me, but you decided to talk to me. Growing up Iris, so show us your book, put it up there for us. I challenge everyone to go out and purchase a copy of her book. I will be purchasing that copy as soon as I get off of this interview. I have one copy. I'm going to purchase another one for my son. And I just challenge everyone to go out and to purchase her book to support her. As a young Black writer, we have to continue to support each other. Are there any words of encouragement that you would like to leave our writers?
I think just do it. Honestly, I say that a lot, but just do it. Anything you can put your mind to, you can do it. Um, I'm a prime example. I wrote a book in a very short amount of time, in a very hard time. Like it was
Mhm.
during the beginning of COVID, so I was home. I had nothing to do, so I just did it. So that's my words of encouragement. Is just do it.
Let's do it. We love it. Thank you so much. Continue
Thank
to be
you.
great. Continue to connect with us. And good luck with the future.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.